All right, welcome. Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions out there. How do we stop just going through the motions and start building a life that actually feels meaningful? We're going to break down how you can get off autopilot and start consciously designing a life that's really yours.
So let's just dive right in with a question that, well, it might feel a little too familiar. You've worked so hard, you've hit the goals you set for yourself, you have the things you thought you always wanted, and then in a quiet moment, that little voice pops up and asks, is this really it? But here's what's so important to understand about that feeling. That little pang of emptiness, even when everything on the outside looks perfect, that's not a sign you've failed. It's actually the complete opposite. It's the beginning of a really important journey. It's you starting to wake up.
See, whether you realize it or not, there's this one fundamental question that's acting like a hidden script in the background, and it's shaping every single decision you make. And that question is, why am I here? Your answer, even if you've never said it out loud, is the foundation for everything.
Because when you don't consciously choose your own answer to that big question, you just default to living on autopilot. You end up following a path that was basically laid out for you by other people, your family, your culture, what society expects, without ever really stopping to ask if it's the right path for you.
So what do these pre-programmed autopilot answers actually look like? Well, most of us are running on one of a few really common scripts, and a lot of the time, we don't even know it.
Okay, so this table breaks them down. First, you've got the basic animal answer. Just survive, stay safe, pass on your genes. Simple enough, but it doesn't explain why we create art or help a total stranger. Then there's a society answer. You know this one. It's the endless ladder of success. You're always chasing the next promotion, the bigger house, but satisfaction is always just one rung away. The feel-good answer is all about seeking pleasure, right? The next thrill, the next distraction. But it's kind of like eating junk food for every meal. It leaves you hungry for something with real substance. And then there's the nothing matters answer. And while that can sound pretty grim, it can also be seen as the ultimate freedom, a totally blank page for you to write on.
Eventually, though, living on any of these autopilot scripts just starts to feel, well, off. The system begins to show cracks, and you start getting these little signals from yourself that it's time for a change. It's time to wake up.
So, do any of these sound familiar? That feeling of just being exhausted from putting on a performance all day? Or that weirdly hollow feeling right after a huge win? Maybe it's that pang of envy you get when you see someone who is just so genuinely lit up and passionate about their life. These aren't just bad moods, you know. They are important pieces of data. They're signaling that there's a disconnect between the life you're living and the person you really are inside.
So, this is the crucial point. This is the big shift. The journey off of autopilot starts with this simple but really profound change in focus. You have to stop asking that external question, what should I be doing? And you have to start asking the internal one, who am I really? And what do I actually truly care about?
And of course, you're not the first person to wrestle with this, not by a long shot. For centuries, some of the greatest minds in history have been thinking about this very same question of purpose.
And what's interesting is their answers often fall into two powerful camps. On one side, you've got thinkers like Aristotle. He believed your purpose is something you discover. It's already inside you, your unique gifts, and your job is to grow into the truest version of yourself. But then, on the other side, you've got the existentialists, who argued that life is just a blank canvas. They said it's up to you to create meaning through your choices and your actions. So do you discover it, or do you create it?
And this is where modern psychology comes in with this really powerful bridge between those two ideas. Research consistently shows that one of the most direct, most reliable paths to a meaningful life is to contribute, to use your life in service of something bigger than just yourself.
Okay, so let's get practical. Let's move from these big ideas to an actual toolkit. Because instead of searching for one single magical life purpose out there somewhere, you can actively build your own answer using a really clear framework.
So yeah, forget looking for some kind of buried treasure map. You're going to build a personal guide for your life. And it's made up of three essential components: your compass, your vehicle, and your arena. Let's break those down right now.
First up is your compass. These are your non-negotiables. They're your 3 to 5 core values that always point you in the right direction. A good way to find them is to think about moments when you felt really proud or totally in your element. What values were you living by then? Was it honesty, creativity, connection? Just naming them gives you your true north.
Second, you need your vehicle. This is how you're going to travel on your path.
and you find it right at the intersection of your natural strengths and your deep passions. So ask yourself, what do people always seem to come to you for help with? And what are the things you do where you totally lose track of time? The answer to those questions? That's the engine that powers your vehicle.
And finally, there's your arena. This is where you'll drive your vehicle. It's a specific problem or a place or a community in the world that you want to serve. Think about it. What injustices in the world make you angry? What possibilities make you feel hopeful? That is your arena. It's the place where your unique contribution is needed most.
Now here's the real magic. When you combine these three things, you don't get a job title like senior analyst. You get something way more powerful, a personal theme for your life. It might sound something like, my theme is to use my creativity, that's your compass, for powerful storytelling, that's your vehicle, to help misunderstood people find their voice, and that's your arena. See, you can apply that theme anywhere.
Now, a quick heads up. As you start doing this work, just be on the lookout for these common mental traps. Don't fall for that idea that your purpose has to be some save-the-world epic to be special, or get so overwhelmed thinking it's too big that you do nothing. And please, 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 don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Your path is your own.
Because at the end of the day, this is the key takeaway. Achieving all the success in the world without a deep sense of purpose, it's fragile. It's like building a beautiful house on sand. It might look great, but it can all come crumbling down. It's effort combined with a clear purpose that creates a life that is strong, joyful, and makes a real, lasting difference.
So we end right back where we started, but with a totally new perspective. The ultimate question isn't what is my purpose, as if it's some object you have to find. The real question is, what purpose will I choose to build? The power and the choice is all yours.